Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling lake, there lived a young man named Theodore. Now Theodore was the very embodiment of laziness. His days were filled with lounging around, playing video games, and generally doing nothing. His room was always a disaster. His clothes were strewn everywhere, and the only exercise he got was from the couch potato position to the refrigerator and back again. Theodore's mother had reached the end of her patience. "You're the laziest young man I ever did see," she would lament. "If you don't shape up, you'll end up like your father, a failure." And Theodore would just respond with a grunt, too lazy even to argue. One day, his mom had an idea. She went to Theodore's room, grabbed his video game console, and placed it out of his reach on top of the wardrobe. Then she left the room and closed the door behind her. When Theodore realized that his console was out of reach, he jumped off the bed and tried to grab it, but his mom stopped him. "First, make your bed and I will give it back to you," she told him. Theodore looked at his unmade bed, then at his mom holding his console. With a sigh, he started to make his bed. He pulled up the covers, tucked them in neatly, and arranged the pillows. For the first time in his life, his bed was made. His mom smiled, handed back the console, and went to the kitchen. Theodore was confused. Why was he making his bed when he could be playing a video game? Was this some kind of trick? But then he glanced at the clock. He usually woke up 30 minutes before he had to leave for work, but now he had wasted almost half of that time just making his bed. He decided to try something. The next day, he didn't get up until he absolutely had to. He made his bed quickly and left for work. In the evening, when he returned home, he made his bed again. On the third day, he repeated the process. It took him no more than 5 minutes each time, but he found himself doing it without even thinking about it. Making the bed had become a habit. At first, this change didn't seem like much. It was just one small task, after all. But Theodore soon noticed that his life was beginning to shift in small, unexpected ways. Because he now had the habit of making his bed, he found himself getting up earlier. Waking up earlier meant that he could take his time in the morning instead of rushing to get ready. This gave him a sense of control over his day that he had never experienced before. Since he was getting up earlier and going to bed earlier, he slept better. With better sleep came better focus at work. His boss, who had always scolded him for his carelessness, now praised him for his diligence. Theodore received a raise. The extra money meant that he could buy new clothes, which made him feel more confident. And because he was making his bed every day, he began to notice other areas of his life that needed attention. He started doing the dishes every night so they wouldn't pile up. He cleaned the windows, which hadn't been done in years. He even mowed the lawn, much to the surprise of his neighbors. It wasn't just his living space that benefited from this change. Theodore also started taking better care of himself. He knew that if he wanted to buy new clothes, he couldn't just sit on the couch eating junk food anymore. So he joined a gym and started working out. He cut out sugary drinks and processed food and replaced them with healthier options. As he continued to build these new habits, he began to feel better about himself. He was no longer the lazy, good-for-nothing boy that everyone thought he was. He was becoming someone new, someone he could be proud of. There were times, of course, when he wanted to give up. There were days when he felt like staying in bed all day and doing nothing. But he knew that if he didn't keep up with his new habits, everything would go back to the way it was before. So he pushed through those days, reminding himself that every small win was a step towards a better future. Slowly but surely, Theodore transformed his life. He became the kind of person his mother had always hoped he would be. He got a promotion at work, became a respected member of his community, and most importantly, felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that he had never felt before. And it all started with one small habit, making his bed every morning. Looking back, Theodore realized that it wasn't just about making his bed, it was about shifting his mindset. Before, he had been focused on instant gratification, playing video games and watching TV. But now he was focused on building a better future for himself. He had learned that big changes in life start with small wins. Now let's see what lessons we can learn from Theodore's story. First, don't underestimate the power of small changes. Making his bed every day didn't seem like a big deal. But it was the first step in a chain reaction that transformed Theodore's life. Small changes compound over time, just like a snowball rolling down a hill, gaining momentum and size. Theodore's small habit turned into a powerful force that changed his life. Second, focus on building habits, not on achieving instant gratification. Theodore used to spend his days playing video games and doing nothing. But he realized that to create lasting change, he needed to focus on building good habits, rather than just seeking instant gratification. Habits are the compound interest of success. They allow us to achieve greater things without constantly needing motivation or inspiration. Third, celebrate small wins. Every time Theodore made his bed, he was actually winning a small victory over his laziness. Celebrating these small wins helped him stay motivated and on track towards his larger goal of transforming his life. As author James Clear says, celebrate the small wins. They will compound. Finally, remember that success is a journey, not a destination. Theodore didn't transform his life overnight. It was a gradual process that took time and effort. But by focusing on the journey, celebrating small wins, and building good habits, he was able to achieve success in the end. So what small changes can you make in your life today? What habits can you start building that will lead to bigger success in the future? Remember, success starts with a single step, just like Theodore. So don't wait another minute. Start today and make those changes that will make you proud tomorrow. And that's all for our story today. Friends, if you enjoyed this tale, please give us a thumbs up. Also, if you want to suggest any stories or moral lessons you want us to cover in the future, please drop them in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.